Khamzat's a freak, man.
How about,
especially at 170?
Dude, but he can't make the weight. He's too unreliable.
He just needs to be a little bit more disciplined. Bro, 170, he's almost unstoppable. It's hard to say because we don't know what happened to Khamzat.
There's so many question marks. We don't know.
Khamzat just shoots from like 15 feet away and gets a hold of your legs.
But I look at the Kamaru, he didn't.
What do you think, guys? How I done with this guy, Rob? How he done? Rob took him down. So if Rob took him down, so there is salam alaikum.
The Khamzat fight's what I want. I want to take this. It's not even a doubt in my mind. Khamzat is a strong guy, but I know for a fact that he's never felt power like this. In this case, he has a gun and I have a tank when it comes to the strength. So there's not a middleweight that's going to overpower me. It's not going to happen. Once it goes past round 2, it's going to be smooth sailing.
Joe Rogan has just warned Dricus Du Plessis not to fight Khamzat Chimaev as he thinks Khamzat's wrestling is just too much for him. Joe Rogan also said Khamzat Chimaev's aggressive seek and destroy style needs some adjustment if he wants to fight top opponents like Kamaru Usman. He noted that Khamzat's confidence comes from dominating his first 4 UFC fights while barely getting hit. Rogan laughed at Khamzat's claim that his right hand breaks mountains and recalled being shocked when he knocked out Gerald Meerschaert with 1 punch.
We know a lot about Khamzat. We know that, first of all, we know that style, that seek and destroy, throw yourself into the fire style, it needs a little tweaking if you're going to fight Usman. It needs a little tweaking.
Guys,
you're not going to just steamroll everybody because he went through 4 fights in the UFC and was only hit twice. I mean, of course the guy's confident.
Yeah,
incredible. Yeah, incredible.
Yeah, he said his right hand breaks mountains.
I'm not arguing with him.
No, that's pretty confident.
It's very confident.
I was like, damn, I love that line.
Well, when he fought Gerald Meerschaert and knocked him out with 1 punch, it was like, oh my God.
Joe Rogan further claimed that Khamzat Chimaev's skill level is so high, it makes him wonder how Dricus Du Plessis would handle it. He noted that Du Plessis can wrestle, has very good jiu-jitsu, hits hard, and is a tough, durable fighter, but questioned whether he'd be able to wrestle with someone like Khamzat.
Like, this was just a overwhelming victory. Khamzat just charged in, dove in, got him down, and mauled him. Mauled him until he broke his face.
Do you think it's different with Du Plessis? Because he can wrestle.
He can wrestle. He's got very good jiu-jitsu. He hits hard, and he's a big, durable dude. But I don't know if he's going to be able to wrestle with that guy. Like, I don't know, man. The Khamzat's skill is so high level, it makes me wonder.
Robert Whitaker believes Khamzat Chimaev's takedowns are nearly impossible to stop due to their power and technical level. However, he sees Dricus Du Plessis as extremely tough, persistent, and hard to finish. In his view, if someone can survive Khamzat's early pressure, Dricus has the kind of relentless durability and grit that can turn the tide in a fight.
Khamzat and DDP, the next fight. Who do you think is going to walk away as the champion here?
I can't see anyone really stopping Chimaev's takedowns. Like, his takedowns are so hard to stop. It's super high level. Can DDP drag it into those later rounds? Can it get through the first grappling exchanges and then start to capitalize on his just like persistence, like doggedness to go away? Honestly, if Chimaev can't get DDP out of there, DDP wins. DDP wins almost every fight. You can't get rid of him, right? Because he's like mold, dude.
Joe Rogan further said that Khamzat Chimaev is a freak athlete, especially at 170 pounds, where he's almost unstoppable. However, he pointed out that Khamzat is unreliable when it comes to making weight and needs to be more disciplined. Rogan recalled how even when Gilbert Burns landed clean shots and dropped him, Khamzat never stopped coming forward, showing just how tough and relentless he is.
Khamzat's a freak, man. Especially at 170.
Dude, but he can't make the weight. He's too unreliable.
He just needs to be a little bit more disciplined. Bro, 170, he's almost unstoppable. Even when Gilbert caught him on the noggin multiple times and dropped him, remember?
Yep.
Still fucking kept going. Like, that guy never stopped coming.
However, Dricus Du Plessis spoke confidently about Khamzat Chimaev, acknowledging that Khamzat is strong, but claiming he's never faced power like his own. He compared Khamzat's strength to a gun, while he himself has the power of a tank. Dricus firmly believes that no middleweight can overpower him, and once the fight reaches round 2, it will be smooth sailing for him.
The Khamzat fight's what I want. I want to take this. It's not even a doubt in my mind. Khamzat is a strong guy, but I know for a fact that he's never felt power like this. In this case, he has a gun and I have a tank when it comes to the strength. So there's not a middleweight that's going to overpower me. It's not going to happen. Once it goes past round 2, it's going to be smooth sailing.
MMA Guru said that he could see Dricus Du Plessis winning against Khamzat Chimaev. He believes the most underrated part of Dricus's game is his jiu-jitsu, particularly his ability to scramble well from the bottom. Dricus won't allow himself to get mounted easily. He's skilled at rolling for a leg or a heel hook, using it to get back to his feet or even transition to back control. MMA Guru praised Dricus for his ability to stay dangerous and active in those situations.
Who do you think wins, Dricus or Khamzat, and what do you think the finishing sequence would look like? I could see Dricus winning. Chat, yes or no, most underrated part of Dricus Du Plessis' game, jiu-jitsu. He actually scrambles really well from bottom position, really well. He's not going to let himself get mounted. He'll roll for like a leg and shit like that, you know what I'm saying? He'll roll for a leg, threaten a heel hook, and then use it to get back up and try and get back control. Like, he's actually really good at that shit.
Kamaru Usman said that getting Khamzat Chimaev on your back in round 1 is no easy task, and once he does, it's tough to get him off. Usman mentioned that Khamzat's squeeze is incredibly strong, as shown when he was able to sink in submissions. He questioned whether Khamzat could use that same style against Dricus Du Plessis, acknowledging the challenges that might come with facing someone like Dricus.
Khamzat Chimaev on your back in round 1 is not easy to get off. And then he was able to sink that in. And that goes to show how strong of a squeeze this freaking dude had.
Could he pull that same style against Dricus Du Plessis? Because I will say this.
1000%.
However, Khamzat Chimaev said that he's curious about Dricus Du Plessis as a champion and his run so far. He questioned how Dricus would handle grappling, especially after seeing Robert Whittaker take him down. Khamzat acknowledged that Dricus is tough, but seemed to have concerns about his grappling against high-level opponents.
Wanted to get your thoughts on Dricus as a champion, his run so far, and what do you make of his grappling?
What do you think, guys? How I done with this guy, Rob? How he done? Rob took him down. So if Rob took him down, so there is salam alaikum.
On the other end, Dricus Du Plessis acknowledged Khamzat Chimaev as an incredible fighter, but pointed out close fights. Like with Gilbert Burns and Kamaru Usman, he agrees Khamzat deserves a title shot after beating Robert Whittaker. Du Plessis also mentioned the UFC's American ties, questioning whether this influences title shots, and jokingly asked who the 170-pound champion was before realizing it's Belal Muhammad.
Yeah, I think Khamzat's an incredible fighter, but you know, you're fighting in the top 5 of the UFC, everybody's incredible fighters. You know, Khamzat is an absolute animal, absolutely, but I mean, you look at the Gilbert Burns fight, which you could have scored either way. You look at the Kamaru Usman fight, and you go, yeah, he did beat Robert Whittaker, but obviously his teeth broke back. It's unfortunate. He is really good. So, you know, deserving of a title shot 100% after that performance. It's just an idea that I'm running by. John Jones is the only current American UFC champion, right?
Yep.
So now you have to ask your question, the UFC is a massive American company. Is that...
Oh, 170... Who's 170 champ? That's Belal Muhammad. Yeah,
Belal.
you're kind of right. Yeah, I think it's the...
I can't believe you just said, who is the 170 champ? Oh, that's the best here.
I love Belal Muhammad.
Moreover, Chael Sonnen said that Khamzat Chimaev has been able to take down everyone quickly, including Robert Whittaker, but questioned if Dricus Du Plessis could defend Chimaev's takedowns or even take him down. Sonnen acknowledged Dricus' strong stand-up skills and pointed out that a matchup with Chimaev feels different, suggesting it's not as clear that Dricus couldn't compete with him, just like it wasn't obvious he couldn't hang with Alex Pereira.
Is he good enough to defend the takedowns of Chimaev? Let's go further with it. Is he good enough to take Chimaev down? I've never seen Chimaev lose a stand-up fight. I want you to know how good Dricus is at a stand-up fight. Do you believe that Chimaev can tackle this man? Chimaev has gotten on top of everybody with no exception inside of 5 minutes. And you guys remember the Robert Whittaker fight? He came right across the ring, got him right down right away. Chimaev versus Dricus feels different. What a match. Dricus Du Plessis, world champion. It's not quite as obvious that he couldn't go with Alex Pereira. It's not quite as obvious as it felt. It's not quite as obvious that he can't go with Chimaev. Things feel very different right now.
Henry Cejudo said Khamzat Chimaev could beat anyone in the world in a round, but he doesn't see that happening against Dricus Du Plessis. He believes Dricus' scrambles and relentless pressure would make it tough for Chimaev, who would need to pace himself for 5 rounds. Cejudo, who once thought Dricus was sloppy, now sees his volume and tenacity as a real challenge for Khamzat.
Does Khamzat beat DDP? Man, Khamzat could beat anybody in the world in about a round. It's super impressed with what he did to Robert Whittaker. I don't see that against DDP. DDP's scrambly, man. You're gonna need to really be able to pace yourself for 5 rounds. And with DDP's train just continue to keep rolling and he's still steaming and his train's still hot. It depends on how long DDP wants to take a break. You're gonna have to prepare, man, for a guy like DDP. You're gonna need a 3-rounder, a 5-rounder to get ready, but I don't see it. I just don't see it. I think DDP's too, I used to think he was the sloppiest thing on planet Earth, and I thought the same thing about Merab until they bring that volume and just the tenacity. It changes everything.
Dominic Cruz praised Dricus Du Plessis for his striking and stance switching, which helped defend against takedowns. He believes Dricus is strong enough to challenge Khamzat Chimaev's power in the first 2 rounds, something most opponents can't do. However, Cruz acknowledged that it could be the toughest fight of Dricus's career.
I actually really like Dricus right now, the way he's looking. Like I said in the Schmo interview, he doesn't really stay on the center line. His striking and the stance switch really supports him in the rest of the takedown defense. Yeah. Because as long as you don't sit right in front of a guy consistently, it's hard to get a hold of the legs and shoot on you. So he's also very big and strong. So I think he can challenge the strength of Chimaev in the first 2 rounds, which a lot of people haven't been able to rival. Just the strength alone has been too much, and I think Dricus is sturdy enough and big enough he can challenge it, but I will say I think it might be the toughest fight of his career so far.
Azamat Bakoev said that many people underestimate the champion, Dricus Du Plessis, but he believes it will be a tough fight for Khamzat Chimaev. While acknowledging Chimaev's strength and his ability to destroy many fighters, Bakoev thinks the fight will still be close, with a slight edge to Chimaev, perhaps around 55%.
Everybody underestimates the champion, Dricus Du Plessis, but I think it's going to be not easy fight for Khamzat Chimaev. But Khamzat Chimaev also strong. He destroyed a lot of fighters, and but I still think it's going to be close fight, and who knows who's gonna win? Maybe 55%. So it's Chimaev, like that.
Moreover, Dricus Du Plessis predicted his fight with Khamzat Chimaev, saying that while Khamzat will definitely be able to take him down, he'll have to deal with Dricus on the ground and keep him there. Dricus believes he can also take Khamzat down and is not afraid of Khamzat's wrestling. He emphasized that avoiding the ground with Khamzat is a mistake that others make, and he's confident in his ability to fight on the mat.
Is Khamzat going to be able to take me down? Absolutely. Absolutely he'll be able to take me down. This is how a fight works. I would hope so. Isn't he like some Swedish champion or something? I would hope he could take me down. But then he has to deal with me on the ground and he has to keep me there. Can I take Khamzat down? Absolutely. Am I going to take Khamzat down? Absolutely. I'm not scared of Khamzat wrestling. I'm not evading. I'm not trying to stay off the ground with Khamzat. That's the mistake everybody makes.
In another interview, Dricus Du Plessis acknowledged Khamzat Chimaev's skill, but pointed out that he hasn't faced many top fighters outside of Robert Whittaker. Dricus believes their fight won't be a pure grappling contest, and that he excels when all aspects, including grappling, wrestling, and striking, are mixed. He also mentioned that Khamzat can't even secure a title shot at welterweight right now, implying Dricus will present a new challenge.
Khamzat is an incredible fighter. Nobody has been able to beat him, but he hasn't fought anybody of note other than Robert Whittaker. That is it. This is not a grappling competition. I am not the best grappler, wrestler, or striker. When we mix it all up, I am. That's why I have this. He couldn't even get a title at welterweight. Now he wants to come to middleweight. Great, let's go.
Moreover, Luke Rockhold said that in a fight, it's not always about being the most technical, but about who wants it more. He believes Khamzat Chimaev is a go-for-broke type of fighter. Rockhold thinks if Khamzat can't out-wrestle or control his opponent in the early rounds, it will be difficult for him. He predicts that if the fight goes into the 3rd, 4th, or 5th rounds, it will be all Dricus Du Plessis' fight.
It's not always about the most technical guy, it's the guy who wants it more. And
how do you think he fares against Khamzat?
I think Khamzat is a go for broke kind of guy. Khamzat, if he can't out wrestle you, he can't control you in that fierce state of direction of what he does. I think he'll break. Khamzat will get him if he'll get him, but if he can't get him, it's going to be a hard 3rd, 4th, and 5th round. Right. I think that's going to be all all Dricus.
Tim Welch mentioned that while he'd love to see a fight between Khamzat Chimaev and Sean Strickland, he believes Strickland's ability to get up after being taken down would make it a challenging fight for Khamzat. He also noted that Khamzat has been a bit more respectful lately, especially in the lead up to fights with top-tier opponents. Despite this, Welch thinks Dricus Du Plessis has a way of getting under his opponent's skin and might be able to bring out the crazy side of Khamzat again, which could make for an exciting fight.
I would love to see Khamzat versus Strickland too. Khamzat said in training, I submitted him multiple times. In a fight, it's a little different. And Strickland, you've seen Strickland get dumped before. He is an expert at getting up. He's really good wrestling, really good jiu-jitsu. But just like you said, can you survive the first fucking 3 minutes with that dude? Gnarly.
That's fire.
I miss the crazy Khamzat, but now that he's getting into these top 5 elite guys, I mean, it's probably better that he's not crazy Khamzat.
Dude, I mean, that looked like crazy Khamzat to me.
All week being respectful of the press conferences, respectful of like everything.
Yeah.
It was a lot different than he used to be.
DDP has a way of poking at opponents too, though, so you might be able to pull that crazy Khamzat back out of him.
I'd love to see DDP beat him.
Bo Nickel said he believes Khamzat Chimaev has the edge over Dricus Du Plessis due to his dominant grappling style. He admitted he might be biased as a grappler himself, but pointed out that wrestling and grappling have become the most effective styles in MMA. He mentioned fighters like Merab, Islam, Belal, and Khamzat as examples of how grappling is currently dominating the sport, even noting that strikers like Rob Whittaker have wrestling backgrounds. According to Nickel, this style is extremely hard to beat and defend against.
I would, just based on the styles, I just think that the grappling style, I might be biased. I'm definitely biased, but I think the grappling style is so hard to beat, and it's so hard to defend against. And I guess if you look at it from a analytical point of view, you have so many. It's really become the dominant force in the sport. You got Merab, you got Islam, you got Belal, you got Khamzat. You even have you can even look at Topuria. Obviously, people know he's more of a boxing style, and he does a lot more striking, but his background is wrestling. He did that before anything else. And so it's really wrestlers that are dominating, grapplers that are dominating the sport right now. And so I think that I would give the edge to Khamzat.
However, he also acknowledged that Khamzat has never been tested in the 4th and 5th rounds, while Dricus has shown he can go deep into fights. If the fight goes into those later rounds, Nickel believes that's where Dricus could have the advantage and possibly pull off a win. Still, overall, he sees grappling as the deciding factor and gives the edge to Khamzat.
But we still have yet to see Khamzat ever fight a 4th and a 5th round. We've seen that from DDP, and so that's where he would have the advantage. If it goes deep, 4th and 5th round, I think that DDP might be able to pull it out. But all in all, I think the grappling style is definitely an overwhelming style to try to deal with.
Ilia Topuria said he respects both Khamzat Chimaev and Dricus Du Plessis, calling Khamzat a savage who always goes for the finish and never looks for a decision. He believes Khamzat deserves a title shot as soon as possible. Although he's friends with both fighters and has great relationships with them, as a fan of mixed martial arts, he sees their potential matchup as an exciting fight and wishes the best of luck to both.
He's the man. He's a savage. He calls him his shots. He finishes his opponents. When he goes inside the octagon, you know that guy goes for the finish. He's not looking for the decision. That's why I respect Khamzat. He's a fucking beast. So he deserves to fight for the title as soon as possible. We're gonna have an amazing fight because I love Dricus Du Plessis. He's a great human being. I have a great relationship with him. I have a great relationship with Khamzat also. But as a fan of mixed martial arts, it's gonna be a very exciting fight. I hope the best man wins, and I wish best of the luck to both of them.
So what are your thoughts on this? Share your thoughts in the comments section and make sure to subscribe and like if you enjoyed the video.